Hello, my name is Sugeidy Figuereo Ramirez, and today my partner Dominga Cabrera Quevedo and I, we are going to talk about the International Phonetic Alphabet and the phonetic transcription. The International Phonetic Alphabet was first approached by Otto Jesperson in a letter to Power Passy from the International Phonetic Association. The intention of its creator was to adjust the representation of a spoken language, avoiding the confusion caused by the conventional spelling used in all languages. The IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet, was also trying to replace the 16 multitude of individual transcription system. It was first published in the 1888 and it was evaluated in several times in the 20th and the 21st centuries. Who is Otto Jesperson? Jesperson was a professor of English at the University of Copenhagen from 1893 to 1995, and he was served also as a rector of the university between 1920 to the 1921. His early work focused primarily on language teaching reform and on phonetics. Jesperson was an important figure in the international language movement. He was an early supporter of the Esperanto offshoot, and in 1928, he published his own project. He also worked with the International Auxiliary Language Association. Power Pesci, in the other hand, it was one also of the representative of the International Phonetic Alphabet. In the 1886, he was the founder of the IPA, and he participated in the development of the International Phonetic Alphabet, AFI, that it was first published in the 1888. So the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, is an alphabet developed in the 19th century to represent the pronunciation of language. One of the goals of the IPA was to provide a unique symbol of each distinctive sound of a language. That is, that each sound or phoneme can be distinguished one word from another. So here we have an example. Here we have the phoneme U, that we can find that phoneme in the words put, look, sure, cook, book, and look. Those are just an example. There are more words that we can find with the same phoneme, but I just want to get them here so we can identify and find the purpose of the IPI. So the IPI work here is to specify the sound of those words for the vowels. Let's say identifying the as only one sound. Here we have the phoneme U that, as I mentioned, can be found in those words. But if you can see, each word here has different vowels. For example, here we have put. It only have one vowel. But then we have look. It has two vowels. We call that diphthongs, right? So if you can see, there is a difference between them because in put, we have a U, but then in look, we have double O. But at the end, when we pronounce those words, it's the same sound. So put and look. So what we call the IPA in this case is the specific sound that we pronounce whenever we pronounce those two words, or in general, those six words that we have here. So if you can hear, there is no difference on the pronouncing of the vowels that I'm mentioning. Put, book, sure. It's the same phoneme that is being represented in this case for this phoneme here. U. So in other examples, it will be the same. What APA does is to establish a only phoneme for the same sound in different words. So just to clarify, when we are pronouncing cook, book, and look, at the end is the same sound for all the vowels that we have in those words. So the phoneme for those three words that we have here is U, and then this sound, this phoneme is being representative for this phoneme here. So the representation of those sound, which are the same at the end, is this one. So that is what the IPA does. In conclusion, the IPA did not become the universal system for phonetic transcription that its creator or designers had intended, and it's used less commonly in America than in Europe. But anyways, it's widely employed by linguistics and in some dictionaries. So often with some modifications. The IPA also is being used by singers. So now I'm going to leave you with Dominga Cabrera, my partner, and she will be talking about the phonetic transcription.
Hello guys. Since Sugeidy already talked, I'm going to be talking about phonetic transcriptions. And first, we need to go into what the phonetic transcription concept is. So, phonetic transcription, also known as phonetic script or phonemic notation, is the visual representation of speech sounds or phonemes by the means of symbols. The most common type of phonetic transcription uses a phonetic alphabet, such as the International Phonetic Alphabet. In here, I'm showing which are the symbols that are used to represent each phonemes used by the IPA, as Suheidi already talked. Then, what I'm showing here are the symbols that we commonly use to represent whether we're transcribing or transcribing a phoneme or doing a transcription. So in this case, we use brackets and we also use slashes to represent or to show that we are representing a notation of the phoneme of the phonemes of the word. So in some cases, we also use pipe to enclose the phonologic transcription of the word. So after this, let's see what are the types of transcription that are used in phonetic transcription. So in here we have broad transcription and narrow transcription. So it's better to know that a broad transcriptions are a kind of transcription that doesn't offer many details on what the transcription or the symbols or representation of the symbols we are using. So as I said, doesn't offer a lot of details on the representation of the phonemes. But in the opposite, narrow transcription will offer a lot of details, especially on what are the phonetic details that we are showing or representing in the notation or transcription. So in here, in this chart, I'm showing you some of diacritic or marks that we use especially in narrow transcription. So for example, we have this age or this that we see over here indicate that this word, whenever it appears, is gonna be an aspirated word. So it happened the same with the word with this mark over here, that it means that is a pop word, a pop pronunciation. And it is, for example, in the word like in some symbols like this. It will happen the same. So I'm not going to go through a lot of detail on this because we're gonna be seeing them in the examples that I'm gonna be giving you later. But it's good for you to know that we're going to find some symbols that from time to time we're going to find symbols, and it's good to know what they means next to each transcription. So as Suheidi already mentioned in her presentation, we have a symbol representation or a phone, I mean, a symbol to represent each phonemes in the language. Especially in this case, as we're talking, we have one symbol to represent each phoneme in the words. So this what we have over here are going to be the way that we represent the phonemes. We might already know this because we saw them before. So hope you can just take a look and see. For example, we have some here, some vowels phonemes, and we have also some consonant phonemes. For example, we have the t, as we find them in words like, for example, time. We have also, this is a consonant phoneme. We have also a vocalic or vowel phonemes. It is the case of the U, as so Heidi already mentioned. She gave a lot of examples on where we can find those kind of phonemes. So soon, going to be showing you some words that later we're going to be transcribing in either broad and narrow transcription. For example, we have here the word pot, bed, put, push, pet, and carrot. I'm going to be showing you how we represent those words either in broad transcription and narrow transcription. As I already said, when we found a narrow, or we find a narrow transcription, it's going to be a kind of, I mean, broad transcription, sorry. It's going to be a kind of transcription that doesn't offer a lot of details. So the speaker of one language will, as soon as they see those symbols over here that are represented by those, as soon as they see those phonemes over here that are represented by these symbols, like for example, the phoneme a and t, they immediately we're going to know that this is for the phoneme or for the word pot. It happens the same with the rest of the phonemes. So in the broad transcription, we're going to find simply those kind of transcription that doesn't offer a lot of details. So they're gonna be phonological transcription, just to take in mind. So whenever any speaker see this, they will realize immediately what the word is. So that's why I have then over here, and we have also some other examples, like for example, let's show it better because we already know this sound for the phoneme. And I think that the most important over here is gonna be um this u, this short u that we have over here, that is represented by this symbol or notation. Then we have the phoneme push, of the word pushed, represented in the narrow way in this with this transcription over here. And we also have the phoneme, the word pet, represented by those symbols for those phonemes in this case. So now we're going soon through show you what some narrow transcription, some examples for narrow transcription. So for example, we're in here, we're going to find the same word that I gave you since the beginning, but represented in a narrow transcription. As I already said, in narrow transcription, we're going to find a transcription with symbols, but in this case, they will specify, they will have more specific details to offer, so the speaker can have a better idea on what to pronounce or articulate the word better. So in this case, let's see the word pot. We're going to find those symbols that represent these those phonemes. In the case of, we have This mark, if you remember, as I told you since the beginning, this little mark that we found over here, it means that we need to pronounce this as a central. So to make like a central pronunciation. So it is gonna be like pot. So it happens the same in this case with the symbol for the phonemes ba, the phoneme e, and these two little dots, they seem like that over here that we found over here is going to mean in this case that we need to pronounce this in a longer way. So we say bed, but it shows us that we need to pronounce it like in a longer way. So bed, bed. So it is in the same case with push, that it is represented in another way, but by those symbols or phonemes that we find over here. So we have pushed, but then we have a P or P with a W. So it means that this word need to be labialized. So we got push, like push, to pronounce this word. So it is the same case. Well, I think you might have an idea what I mean by those symbols, because it is clear. What we see here is that in those cases, we're going to find more details on how to pronounce the um, the word. So for example, we have an aspirated P, like for example, pet. We don't say like just pet, but we say pet, like pet. So we're going to feel a little bit of air coming out of our word when we pronounce this word. So it happens the same with the word put. As we say, we pronounce it with an aspirated P, and then we have a glottal U, so put. Then I got you some examples so we can easily identify whether we have broad, broad transcription or narrow transcription. And I think it's gonna be easy for us because since we see a transcription that offer more details on how we need to pronounce the word, we are definitely going to know that we're talking about narrow transcription. And it happened the opposite when we don't have a lot of details on how to pronounce the word. So in this case, we have some exercises for broad transcription. I'm gonna try to show you what I mean by those exercises. So for example, we have those phonemes over here. If you see between this one and this one, we need to choose which one is gonna be broad and which one is gonna be narrow. So in this case, we can say that then the broad one is this one over here. It happens the same with this one, but in this case, this is gonna be the broad one. But in the word peak or peak, as we have over here, this is gonna be the broad one. And in the next exercise, it's gonna be the same with this over here. This is gonna be the narrow or the broad transcription. And it is similar the next one. In here, we're going to be pointing on where the narrow transcription is. So for example, as we see over here, we can see clearly what are the narrow transcription over here because they offer more details. So in this case, we have park. Park. This is gonna be the narrow transcription. And in the case of smart, This one that we found over here is gonna be the narrow transcription. It happens the same with the word water. This one over here, this one over here that offer like a retroflex herb, for example, and the way that we need to pronounce this word is gonna be the narrow transcription. It happens the same with this word over here, the word put. This one that offer more details is gonna be the narrow one. So I hope you guys understood all what I tried to show you in those examples. This is all. Thank you for paying attention. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.